All right, folks, this is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast. Time to get this show on the road. Here we go. Wow. Hey, and good morning, everybody. This is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast. I want to welcome you all to the show today, and it's a very special day here in the Las Vegas Valley. That's right, folks. It's election day here in Las Vegas, and all across the fruited plain, people are out. They're out and about. As a matter of fact, I dropped my wife off at work this morning, and noticed there was nobody on the street. And as a matter of fact, when I got to her work, there was nobody at the place where she works at. And I thought to myself, what the heck is going on? And then I remembered that everybody's probably out early voting. They're probably getting in there as early as they can. Start at 7 o'clock in the morning. People are doing their voting, stuff like that. So hopefully you will all get out there too and cast your vote. Hopefully if you like the way things are now, then you'll vote to keep the status quo. If you don't, and we're trying not to be political on the show. We really do, folks. It's, many people know my political leanings, and but I've tried as best I can. I hope I've tried as best I can not to let that interfere with my professional journalistic, my job. That's my job. This is my job, is to, kind of look around and do this kind of stuff. So I want to welcome everybody who's joining us on Facebook. You're joining us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all those other places that this is gone out. Black Success Magazine. Thank you for having us being a part of your morning. And so we've got a special show today. We're not going to do our normal thing today. We actually have a real cool interview. Many of you were here yesterday. I was back from being sick. I was sick for almost 2 weeks. 10 days. 10 days was the last time I actually had done a show. And we were still able to do our newsletter, but I could not speak. Literally could not speak, couldn't hold my breath, that kind of stuff. For 10 days. There's a long time. Those are long times in journalist years, in podcasting years. So this was nothing small. But during that time, towards the end of it, I was able to do a couple of interviews that we got in. And we're going to be airing one of those today. Nathan Hall. And Nathan Hall is the owner of Bad Beat Brewing Company. Excuse me. No, I'm not bored about it. It was actually a very cool interview. And we're going to air that video here in just a minute. And you'll be able to check out Nathan, which is very cool. And so I'm looking really forward to that. Also, today is the birthday of the Army. Yeah, so the Army is, I think, 247 years old. Don't quote me on that. Let me double check, because I'm pretty sure it is. My dad was in the Army. Happy birthday, Army. So the Army, it's 247 years. I was right. Yeah, I was right. So it's their birthday today, and we're just so excited for them. My dad was in the Army. For a time, he was in the Korean War, and then he was in the Air Force for the Vietnam War. I know, my dad's been... My sister was in the military, so she was in the Air Force also. And so we're very, very, very excited for... thank you, guys. Thank you for all that you've done for us to give us the ability to come on the radio and talk and do all that kind of stuff, okay? So anyways, we're going to air that broadcast of the Nathan Hall here in just a second. Before we do it, let's pay some bills here, and we'll talk a little about a few more things, and then we'll get on with the show. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right. Hey, and folks, probably did not tell you about this, but Livin Expos, we are working on that right now. Livin Expos is all about you, the business owner. We're doing events, vendor events, where we're putting together people, especially in if you're in the building trades. So if you're in home renovations, your arts, anything that have to do with the home, rugs, insurance, anything like that, definitely contact us about Livin Expos, and we're excited about it. It's called Vegas Livin Expos, so I want to make sure you get that in your spirit. So let's give you a little lead up to the interview we're going to be doing here. Nathan Hall is the owner of Bad Beat Brewing Company, and they're actually going to be celebrating their 8th anniversary. Yeah, their 8th anniversary for their business, July. And so they're actually going to be on the cover of Livin in Vegas magazine. Very excited about it. And we wanted to make sure that we got their story. So I went out and visited them last week, right at the end of my... So I wasn't sick at the time, folks. Just full disclosure, I was sick, but I was not exhibiting symptoms at that time. Okay, so I was not sick anymore. And Nathan, at the end of our photo shoot that we had with Nathan, he sat down with us for an interview, and this is the interview. So sit back, relax, watch Nathan Hall for our interview with Livin in Vegas. There's a little bit of interruption at the beginning of this, but you'll get it. Here we go. This is Livin in Vegas magazine, and today we're at Bad Beat Brewing over in Henderson, and I'm here with the owner of it, Nathan Hall. Nathan, thank you. Thanks so much for having us here.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
This is a fantastic place, folks.
Thank
if you get a chance, you got to go back to the tap room back there. It's just incredible. But Nathan, we were talking before we got started, and you've got such a compelling story. We were not going to do this today, but folks, this you got to hear. It's very cool. Nathan, so let's talk a little bit about Bad Beat Brewing. Had you always wanted to get started in brewing? Was this always something that was in the back of your mind?
And it wasn't. I always enjoyed beer, though.
Yeah, sure.
As we do, right?
Yes, we all do. Yeah.
And so my buddy, he got a Mr. Beer kit. He brewed at his house, and it did not go as planned. And
nobody's ever heard of that before.
You know?
No,
and,
it always works out great.
And I was curious about it, and the next day I got an ad for my own 5-gallon beer kit. And so I got it. I took it. I started brewing at home, and I started doing an extract, and before you know it, I was doing all grain.
So you went from like just a regular kit.
Yes.
And then you said, okay, let's go to all grain.
Yes. So we're actually using grain as opposed to extracts, where you pour in like a syrup.
Sure, like a bag of that bag of stuff they always make. Sure.
Exactly. So we're doing it how we would brew back here, but on a very small scale, 5-gallon scale, right?
Okay.
So I did that, and I started making my own recipes right away. A month goes by, I have a fermentation chamber that's like temperature controlled. I have a 6-tap kegerator that I built, and it's my whole garage is filled with brewing equipment.
Good, nice. It's funny, I think some people who have actually done home brewing are already thinking, dude, stop. Really, you went from here to here, you went through the roof already.
Immediately, just fell in love with it.
So this was more than just a passing fancy.
Right.
This was an obsession.
It got
the
there
beginning?
real quick.
Real quick,
Because I'm a perfectionist too, and I don't, I had that first beer and I hated it. I had the second beer, it got a little better, but I still didn't like it. That's why I went to all grain. And then I said, I'm gonna do my own recipes. I wanna see how I can brew and what I can make. So that's where the obsession became, and I just read everything I could about it, and I really fell in love with brewing.
Isn't that fantastic? So you were telling me a little bit about Bad Beat Brewing and where the name came from. And I thought this was, and we don't even have it with me. We'll put a video of it up on screen here, of what the symbolism of Bad Beat is. Tell us a little bit about how Bad Beat got its name.
Okay, so when I came to Vegas, I used to play cards all the time. I was constantly in the poker room.
So you're not originally from Las Vegas?
No, so I'm originally from Virginia, and I came out here when I was 21 to play cards. And I just did it because I was 21 at the time.
Well, sure.
I said, hey, I want to try it in Vegas, right? Sure. As people do. Did well, went back home, got a real job for a while because parents didn't think I should play poker. And then hated doing that, so I came back out. And I sold my car, moved out here full time, and I was playing cards for a while. And then once I decided I wanted to start a brewery and everything, I was thinking about a name, and I was thinking, well, there's only one other brewery in town that has kind of a gambling theme.
Sure.
And I wanted to kind of merge my two passions, which at the time was poker and now brewing. So I came up with Bad Beat Brewing. And in the logo, we have a deuce 7 offsuit. And that's the worst starting hand in Texas Hold'em.
Sure, so a 2 and a 7.
2 and a 7, yeah. So I wanted to put that on the logo because I wanted to solidify that we are Bad Beat Brewing, because in poker, a bad beat is when you're the underdog. And I always thought we were the underdogs, because we were self-funded and we had less experience than all these other breweries that have been around for such a long time. So the whole idea is that we're giving the bad beat to the other breweries because we think we're going to be on top by the end of the hand, if you will.
Yeah, and you guys will be, because this is a fantastic place.
Thank you.
Bad Beat Brewing, you've been around for how many years now?
So next month it'll be 8 years. We're having our 8-year anniversary party on July 9th.
Fantastic. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And do you do a lot of stuff door to door, bars, in stores, that kind of stuff?
So we're in all the grocery stores in town. We're in most of the gas stations. You can find us. So we can everything on site, and then you can pick it up there through our distributors. We also are in about 100 different bars in town as well.
Oh my gosh, so you guys are doing just
so bars, restaurants, 100 bars.
Bars and restaurants. Oh my gosh. So we're gonna cut. We'll do some cutting here, but
okay.
So I want to talk a little bit about your transition from going from a passion to actually opening a place. Okay. So Nathan, you went from in your garage, and now you're saying, okay, I really want to open up a place.
Right.
What was the process like? Was it pretty easy, or was the city open to it? What kind of obstacles did you have?
Yeah. So when I first thought about doing it, it was because I was in a local homebrew club, and I was going to beer festivals with them, and I was pouring under their name, and people were starting to recognize me because I was going to festival, and they were saying, hey, you should open a brewery. And before that, I never thought about it. It was just like a passion of mine.
Yeah.
But then I was like, maybe I should open a brewery.
Sure, yeah, you're doing
I was
so
like,
well.
I'll be naive enough and think that I could do it. So no experience or anything. Wrote a business plan, wrote a marketing plan. I thought, hey, maybe this could really happen. I thought, let's find a location. We settled on here, and we looked into all the licensing, and we just did a bunch of research and figured out what we needed: federal licensing, state, local, and then we got it all done. We shopped around. So that was the most stressful part. We shopped around for a loan. We couldn't get a loan.
The dreaded loan search.
And it, at the time, 8.5 years ago, when we were looking for financing, it wasn't out there. It wasn't available. And things
haven't changed.
Yeah,
it's still not there, right?
They just thought it was too risky. I was talking to my wife at the time, and I said, hey, I really believe in this. I really think we should move forward. What do you think about selling our house and draining our savings account? Right? That's an awkward conversation.
So, folks, this is this.
Yeah.
So let's drain our savings account.
Yeah, I
take
said,
everything
let's
out.
do it. And she said, yeah. She said, let's do it. She was very, very supportive. She still partners with me to this day. It's great. We're no longer together, but we are very much business partners and talk day to day about the business. And she supported it, and it was great. So we sold our house. We took every dollar out of our savings account. We went into credit card debt just to open this place, and we did it, and we never second guessed it for once. It was the best decision we ever made.
Boy, you got to know there's got to be a sign. Was there another sign? We were talking about this before. There's got to be a sign that says I am doing the right thing. Because you said, I'm going to sell, because you said you had 2 homes at the time, remember?
Yeah, so I had an investment property, and then I had our primary house. And I said, hey, let's put the house on the market. Let's see what kind of offers we get. And both of the houses sold within 24 hours.
What? Are you kidding me? Really? Now is that a story? Come on, folks. I want to thank you once again for checking out that story. Nathan Hall, owner of Bad Beat Brewing Company. Is that a fantastic story? Other than we had some glitches there as far as taping and stuff like that, because I forgot all about it, to tell you the truth. But his story is going to be in the next issue of Livin in Vegas magazine. They'll be on the cover, and you'll get to see the girls that work there and stuff like that. You will love it, love it, love it, okay? We'll be back in just a second, folks. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Folks, and we're back, folks. It's Sherman Ray, this Livin in Vegas podcast. Did you guys know that today is actually election day? Yes, it is. It is election day, and we're really encouraging everybody to get out there and do your civic duty. Get out there and vote, okay? We also, if you'd like to watch the rest of the show, because we're not going to show the entire show here today, if you'd like to watch the rest of the show, go to our website at livininvegas.com, okay? livininvegas.com, and you can actually check out the rest of the show, or you can watch it on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, I encourage you folks, okay, right over here, okay, subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button, become part of the Livin in Vegas Army, and find out all of the cool things that are going on in the Valley. You'll hear about things like Livin Weekly Magazine. Okay, this is the new cover to Livin Weekly Magazine. So excited about this. It really is. The murals of Las Vegas, there are tons of them. I mean, not just a few. There are tons of murals. We were out there for the last couple of weeks and took pictures out there of some of the best. I mean, really, there's some that are good, some that are really good. We want to make sure that you actually got to check that out. Also, we still have Livin in Vegas magazine, which is still on the shelves right now. Okay, this is the current issue of Livin in Vegas magazine, and Greg and Kristen Berta have been a part of this organization for a while now. They're great sponsors. We want to thank them with Junk Luggers, and they've done such a great job as being part of our Living in Vegas family. And so we want to make sure, folks, that once again, that you know that we love you, folks. We just really love you. We want to make sure that you come out and that you're able to check out all the cool stuff that we're doing here in the magazine. Anyways, we're out of here, folks. We're going to. So if you'd like to watch the rest of this video, go to our website at livininvegas.com. That's livininvegas.com, and you can actually check out the rest of the show. Okay, don't even. It's not that you won't miss it. Okay, but I know a lot of you got to go out and vote today. We want to make sure you get out there and vote. And but we're going to do the rest of the show, and then we'll have it in the can. It'll be up on our website probably about a little after 9 o'clock. Okay. Anyways, it's been Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas magazine, the podcast, folks, where we talk about the people, the places, the events, the trends that shape the city of Las Vegas. When you think of Livin in Vegas, folks, think Livin Local. We'll see you again tomorrow, folks, for Livin in Vegas podcast. Bye-bye. All right. Hey, and we are back, folks. It's Sherman Ray, the Livin in Vegas podcast. Just a few more minutes left in the show. I'm going to finish the broadcast of the interview we had with Nathan Hall. So don't worry about it. I'm going to probably go back and re-rack it just a little bit so you can actually see it all. But you're going to watch the rest of the interview with Nathan Hall, and who is the owner of Bad Beat Brewing Company. And let's go ahead and catch that in progress. There might be a little glitch here or there, folks, just to get you back on course, but here we go. Things haven't changed.
Yeah.
It's still not there, right?
They just thought it was too risky. And I was talking to my wife at the time, and I said, hey, I really believe in this. I really think we should move forward. Mm-hmm. What do you think about selling our house and draining our savings account? Right? That's an awkward conversation. So folks,
this is this.
Yeah.
So let's drain our savings account.
Yeah, I
take
said,
everything
let's
out.
do it. And she said, yeah. She said, let's do it. She was very, very supportive. Mm-hmm. Sure. She still partners with me to this day. Mm-hmm. It's great. We're no longer together, but we are very much business partners and talk day to day about the business. Mm-hmm. And she supported it, and it was great. So we sold our house. We took every dollar out of our savings account. We went into credit card debt just to open this place, and we did it, and we never second guessed it for once. It was the best decision we ever made.
Oh, you got to know there's got to be a sign. Was there another sign? We were talking about this before. There's got to be a sign that says I am doing the right thing. Because you said, I'm going to sell, because you said you had 2 homes at the time, remember?
Yeah, so I had an investment property, mm-hmm. and then I had our primary house. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, let's put the house on the market. Mm-hmm. Let's see what kind of offers we get. Mm-hmm. And both of the houses sold within 24 hours. So I looked to her and I said, hey,
that's a sign.
We're doing this.
That's a sign. Yeah, it's funny. I've talked to a lot of business owners about how they got started. And pretty much every one of them have had a very similar story that says basically we just had this feeling, this gut feeling that we should do something like that. So give us some advice, because folks, you've got to come out. The beer is great. The owner is cool. This is really where you come out for the beer, come out for the owner to talk to Nathan. Nathan, if you had to talk to a business owner coming out to Las Vegas to start a business, what kind of advice would you give him on opening up a business? Would you tell him, hey, you got to go and set every duck in order, put everything in order? I mean, what kind of give him some inspiration?
I really think you should do your research.
Okay.
Ton. Do all the research you can, but then I think the most important thing is just following through in doing it. If you have a passion for it and you have a very good product, I think you'll learn as you go, as long as you have a sound base. You started, and the most important thing is to get it going. You don't want to wait 10 years because the conditions aren't exactly perfect, because they're never going to be perfect. So the best thing you can do is get in early and just grind. I used to work 60-hour weeks plus when we started here, and it wasn't until the last few years that I started working less. And that's what you have to do. You just got to get in there and grind, because if you think you have the best product I'm assuming if you're opening a business, you think whatever you're doing is the best product, then believe in yourself and just go for it. Don't let anyone talk you out of it.
Don't let anybody talk you out of it.
Don't live with regret. Who wants to do that? That's not fun.
That's the hardest part. Regret, really? So, sorry about that. Guess you couldn't hear. So, don't live with regret. I think that's probably the biggest thing you can actually take away from conversations like that. Get in there and get going with whatever you're doing. When I started my restaurant, and this was a few years back, my wife and I had a vision, we had a goal, and we did a lot of research. We really did a lot of research on what it took to create a great coffee, and then but really in the final analysis we had to take that step of faith. Matter of fact, at the time we were running a networking group, and we told the business owners that were a part of this networking group that this was 20 in 2012, and we told them all 2012 that we were going to start a business in 2013. I put together a 26-week plan to start the business. And other than a few deviations because of some adjustments we had to make, we were able to hit all of those marks. But the biggest thing was you had to actually get started. I think I'm going to write a story about that, on how businesses can get started, because it's if you don't get started, folks, it'll never happen, and that's just kind of the way it is. And it has served me well. I've started several businesses since then, and some have been successful, some have not been successful, but all of them have the same thing in common: they got started. Okay, so that's really important. Anyways, we're not going to be long, folks. We want to make sure you get out there and you go vote, because this is the most important day here in Las Vegas. Our primaries, our early voting is over. Today is primary day, election day. So we encourage you to get out there. Do we put out a voter's guide? No, we don't. We just don't do that. There are other people who do that. Maybe we'll do it next year, next election cycle, but this election cycle, we just kind of like to make sure that you get out there and vote. Remember, folks, Vegas is unlike any other city in America. I mean, it really is. The same things that apply in California do not apply here. Okay, so this, I'm just saying that because we have California folks who are coming here to vote. And the reason why you came here to Las Vegas was because of the Las Vegas climate, taxes, that kind of stuff, the cost of living. If you don't want to change Las Vegas and you want to keep everything fairly on even keel, vote as somebody who lives here in Las Vegas votes. Okay, and that's all I can say. Okay. Anyways, what time is it? Oh, time to go. We will see you again tomorrow, folks, where we'll talk about the people, the places, the trends, the events that shape the city of Las Vegas, folks. This is Living in Vegas. And when you think of living in Vegas, folks, think living local. Okay? We'll see you again tomorrow, folks, for the Living in Vegas podcast. This has been Sherman Ray. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.